Today topic that we are going to talk about today, we our subject is how can we born as a human. So before we go into details, we mention about the important notes that Dhamma provided in this presentation is simple and not compira or profound. People must continuously study Dhamma or else it will lead to Mahatapa, Niraya or hell, because it is Micchatitti, not following the Buddha's teaching. If any provided content contrasts with Dhamma 84,000 Dhammakantaka, please refer to Dhamma 84,000 Dhammakantaka only. And the responsibility of for Puttha Parisa consisting of three main responsibilities. The first one is the full Puttha Parisa must well understand the Tipitaka 84,000 Dhammakantaka. The second one is the full Puttha Parisa must be able to correctly present 84,000 Dhammakantaka. And the third one is the full Puttha Parisa must be able to correct those who condemn or misunderstand the Tipitaka 84,000 Dhammakantaka. What day is today? Today is 12 Kalapakasa Pakuna Masasa Mahabuddha Jayanti 2611 or March 18 Buddhist era 2566. So today, to go into details about the subject today, we start from ourselves because the path to Sikkha Dhamma starts from ourselves. So we travel inside our body today. It begins with ourselves and then into our body, we have blood system, nerve system, respiratory system, digestive system, bone system, and muscle system. And then we go deeper than that, go deeper into cell level, nucleus, chromosome, DNA, and then we go further into level of chemical compound, and then into elements. And within each element, we go into smaller than that, we go to atom level, that consisting of neutron, proton, inside nucleus, and electron orbit around nucleus. And then we go further smaller than that into nucleus. We found that proton, neutron, as mentioned, and the smallest particle we know by science today is quark. And for Buddhism, we still go a bit much more small than this one. So to go further, almost infinite level, smaller than quarks, then at that level we'll find Avidipokarupa 8. And as we are human or living creatures, they have Shivita Rupa attached to Avinipoka Rupa 8. Altogether 9 components we call Nava Rupa. And Avinipoka Rupa 8 consisting of Patthavi Mahabhuta Rupa, Apo Mahabhuta Rupa, Tesho Mahabhuta Rupa, Vayo Mahabhuta Rupa, and Rupa Visaya Rupa, Kantha Visaya Rupa, Rasa Visaya Rupa, and Ahara Rupa, altogether 8. As you may already be able to recite Rupa, you see that there are two main groups. The first one is Mahabhuta Rupa 4, and the second group is Visaya Rupa, but not all of Visaya Rupa are included in Vinipoka Rupa 8. Only 3 out of 4 included in Vinipoka Rupa 8. The one that is not included in Vinipoka Rupa 8 for Visaya Rupa is Sattha Visaya Rupa. Sattha Visaya Rupa does not included in Vinipoka Rupa 8. And for these two main components, the first one is Avinipokarupa 8, combined with Shivita Rupa 1. Altogether, we call Nava Rupa 9. And Shivita Rupa, whenever we have Shivita Rupa, there are always Shivita Cetasika that works with Shivita Rupa. We call Shivita Cetasika or Shivita Nama. And Shivita Cetasika is one of Sapajita Satarana Cetasika 7, as you may have already be able to recite it. And for Sapajita Satarana Cetasika 7, they are consisting of Phassa Cetasika, Vedana Cetasika, Sanya Cetasika, Chetana Cetasika, Ekakata Cetasika, Shivita Cetasika, and Manasikara Cetasika. So until now, we travel from ourselves into our into our body, into our body systems, into cell level, and go much smaller than that, include until we reach the smallest particle known by science today. And we are not stopping at that level. We go much more smaller than that, and then you will find Avinipokarupa 8 and Shivita Rupa 1 altogether called Nava Rupa 9. And at this level, science cannot be discovered these components, because these components, the knowledge at this level will be discovered only by
enlightenment.
Buddha, only, yes, with the enlightenment of Bodhisattva into Buddha. And when Bodhisattva enlightenment and become Buddha, then this knowledge will be found, and that how we know that this kind of component exists, and this system only be known by the enlightenment of Gautama Buddha or Buddha.
Pikan, what you mean is that everything that we have studied, what we learn, what we do in our daily life is out of enlightenment. Is this out of lupa? Is this before we know lupa? Is that right? Is it very simple for scientists, for everything that we know by ourselves or by studying? Is this not Paramatha Dhamma? Is that right?
Correct, because for normal, for almost everyone in this world, when we're spending our lives, our daily lives, then we familiar with what we see with our eyes, hear with our ears, smell, nose, and taste with your tongue, and feel with your body. That's 5 senses. However, when we Sikkha Dhamma, we are not stopping at that level. We call that we assume that is level 0 for easy understanding. And then when we talking about the level of Dhamma components like this, we assume that we assume that it's maybe level 50, and the level of Chitta that they are working at, this one is level 100. This just assumption, the number that we assumed it for easy explain for easy to explain.
So what we saw is only 0 level.
Level 0, correct.
Yeah. What we saw, what we feel is only 0 level. But for Paramatha, start from 50.
Yes, to
Okay.
see at level 50, that we assume the number. At this level, you see start to see Avinipokarupa 8. And this level, when you see Avinipokarupa 8, you can you start to see other Bhumi apart from human and animal. Or
You mean that we can see Tevata in 50 levels, in
yes,
level 50. Tevata, Naraka, Bhumi, also Prom Bhumi and Arupa Bhumi is
Arupa
50
Bhumi
levels.
is an exception because
Uh,
that those four
no
Bhumi,
Rupa.
yes, they don't
Yes.
have rupa, so we can't find them. However, the one we mentioned that at level 50, that we assume, you can see other of Bhumi because of Avinipokarupa 8 is the basic building blocks of those Bhumi also. So whenever you see Avinipokarupa 8, and then you can see the rest of the Bhumi
Bhumi.
that created by Avinipokarupa 8. And as we mentioned that for easy understanding, in 31 Bhumi except Arupa Brahma Bhumi 4, they basic building blocks of their Bhumi is Avinipokarupa 8. That's why at this level, when you see Avinipokarupa 8, then you can see others Bhumi also.
Okay, and Nava Rupa 9 is add up with Chivita Rupa. That
Yes.
is mean that when everything in the world you consist of only Avinipoka Rupa 8, but if you have add up Chivita Rupa 1, it means that Rupa have Chivita.
Yes, correct. Because this one is very, very important
Yeah.
for everything in our world, like what we see today. Everything that we see, it exists in our society or our daily activities. Those are built from Avinipokarupa 8. Even though it's living creatures or just substances like tree, mountains, building, spoon, plate, table, chairs, etc. Those are also built from Avinipokarupa 8. And
You
we
mean that Avinipokarupa 8 is the very, very small things that consisting of alive thing and non-life thing, no?
yes, because at this level, I go back to this slide. We start from our bodies, right? And
Yeah.
animal also. And other substances like tree, like rocks, like things like that. Whenever you go into very, very small level, into, for example, like to elements. In these elements, in the periodic table of the elements, each of the elements doesn't belongs to only human, but also substances that don't have life. But at this level, you cannot identify that these elements come from living creatures or just substances. For example, if you look like here, carbon exists in our body and also in our environment, like tree, like rocks, like gas, something like that. So at this level, at this elements level, you cannot identify that these elements come from living creatures or the substances as an example, like trees, like rocks, like sand, like oil, like gas. You cannot identify it anymore if this elements come from the living creatures or just substances. As well as what we are going to explain, that for Dhamma, we go much more further, smaller than quarks. The one that we just mentioned, we mentioned at the level of elements, and in each element, they are atom. The structure of each atom of those elements have normally they have neutron, and electron and proton. Neutron and proton exist, stays in nucleus. Electron orbit around nucleus. That is normal structure of an atom. But number of neutron, proton, and electron for each element might vary. However, at this level, as I mentioned, you cannot identify it anymore if that atom comes from living creatures or the environment, like tree, like rocks, like sand, like water, something like that. You cannot identify it anymore. It's very small. And we are not stopping there. We go much more smaller than that. So at quark level, what we see at a level 0 like this, that they don't exist in this very small level anymore. However, when we Sikkha Dhamma, we are not stopping at this very, very small level. We cannot see quarks with our bare eyes, but for Sikkha Dhamma, we go much more smaller than that. So much more smaller than that is not what we see, right? When we go to that level, it's very small. So as we mentioned, that it's very small. At even though at the at elements level, you cannot identify that it anymore, that this component come from living creatures or non-living creatures. But however, at almost assume that it's level 50. At level 50, the exist of Avinipokarupa 8 and Chivitarupa 1. We try to explain that at this level, there's one important things to mention as peeping rest the topic, that for non-living creatures, they are building from they are built from Avinipokarupa 8 only, without Shivitarupa attached to Avinipokarupa 8. However, as we are living creatures, the living creatures like us or an animal, we have we have Shivitarupa 1 attached to Avinipokarupa 8. The one thing that we need to, it's quite important that we need to mention is only Jivitarupa that makes we different from non-living substances. So whenever Jivitarupa leave our Avinipokarupa 8, so at that time, we are not different from rocks, trees, sand, water, oil, and chair. At that time, whenever Shivitarupa leave Avinipokarupa 8, so we don't have Shivitarupa attached with Avinipokarupa 8 and combined as Navarupa 9 anymore. At that time, our body is not anything, not different. It's indifferent comparing to sand, tree, desk, spoon, forks, etc., something like that.
You mean dry? Is that right?
Yes, for
You
easy
mean that
explain.
when we die,
Yeah.
we is something like logs, like wood or something like that? That
Yes, because there's only Avinipokarupa 8 left. And Avinipokarupa 8 is basic building blocks of our body and also our environment, right? But the thing that only one thing that differentiates us from our environment is Shivitarupa 1. So as long as Chivita Rupa 1 attached to Avinipoka Rupa 8 that create our body, then we are alive. Whenever Chivita Rupa 1 leave Avinipoka Rupa 8, then we are dead. For beginners, for easy to understand. So in other words, Shivita Rupa 1 can be called as our age. So how long can we stay in this world? Until we since we born and until we die. That is the time that Shivita Rupa 1 attached to Avinipoka Rupa 8 is our age. So
okay.
what is the importance of Shivita Rupa 1 that differentiate our living creatures from and the environment? The thing is that for Shivita Rupa 1, whenever we have Shivita Rupa 1, there always Shivita Nama or Shivita Cetasika, as we mentioned before. And for Shivita Cetasika, they exist in Sapajita, Sattva Cetasika 7. And whenever we're talking about Cetasika and Chitta, now Cetasika will receive the information from the outside, from a level 0 that's sent through the components of in each level until it reaches Avinipoka Rupa 8 and also Shivita Rupa 1. At this level, the information will feed into Shivita Rupa 1 and sent to Shivita Nama or Shivita Cetasika. And whenever information sent to Shivita Cetasika, Sapajita, Sattva Cetasika 7, they always work together. They will not leave their frames. So whenever you find Shivita Cetasika, you will find the rest of them. And when the information flow is not randomly flow into each Cetasika. However, this shown that the information need to send to Shivita Cetasika. To send information into Shivita Cetasika, they must send in order. So the information will pass from Phassa Cetasika, then Vedana Cetasika, Sanya Cetasika, Cetana Cetasika, Ekakata Cetasika, then reach Shivita Cetasika. And the information is not stopped there. It goes further into Manasikara Cetasika. This to complete Sapajita, Sattva Cetasika 7. And this is the first step, that information from the outside received into our Chitta and Cetasika system through our Rupa. If we are not alive, for rocks, trees, our table, plate, spoon, forks, our car, house, something like that. There and those things don't have Shivita Rupa attached to Avinipoka Rupa 8. So they don't receive anything from the outside. They're just Avinipoka Rupa 8. And from their Avinipoka Rupa 8, there is no Shivita Rupa attached to them. So there is nothing to work with Chitta and Cetasika by themselves. So that's why they are non-living things, but we are living creatures because we have Shivita Cetasika attached to it. And as we mentioned, that as long as Shivita Cetasika or Shivita Rupa attached to Avinipoka Rupa 8, we are alive. Whenever they left, whenever Shivita Rupa left Avinipoka Rupa 8, at that time we are dead. So we become the same as tree, as rock. So nothing left with our body. We just a part of our environment, but we are alive as long as Shivita Rupa attached to Avinipoka Rupa 8. So that is how do we differentiate from ourselves from other substances in the environment. So this is the first step to identify the difference. However,
so three did not have Shivita Rupa and Shivita Cetasika. So three is only substance.
Yes, because a tree is built from Avinipoka Rupa 8, even though tree can respond to the climate, like the temperature and the direction of the sun. However, that is the reaction of Avinipoka Rupa 8 and Avinipoka Rupa 8. Is the reaction of the tree and the sun and the environment, like a temperature. It could be prosper, it could be die, it could be winter. It could be anything, but that is the reaction of Avinipokarupa 8 and Avinipokarupa 8. They don't have any Shivita Rupa attached to them. So then they are not send those information into Chitta and Cetasika because they don't have any, right?
So tree is not a live thing.
Yeah, it's not alive. It's for beginners, and you can see that by knowledge that we know by science, we try to explain that at even at the elements level, you cannot identify it anymore if that elements come from the living creatures or just substances, right? But for Buddhism, for the enlightenment of Gautama Buddha, at way smaller than science known today, Gautama Buddha can identify that this component comes from living creatures, and this component come from substances or environment and non-living creatures. The differentiate is this one. And at this level, science have no clue anymore, but about that substance or that particle come from living creatures or just non-living creatures.
Bacteria is living thing or non-living thing?
If bacteria have a Shivita Rupa attached to them, then they are living creatures. But if they are not have Shivita Rupa attached to them, then they're like trees that they respond with their environment, like tree responds to temperature and responds to the sun, direction of the sun, something like that.
So you mean that bacteria, virus is non-living thing? It's only Avinipokarupa X attached to Avinipokarupa X. Only that.
In Buddhism, we explain it this way. But be able to respond to environment is not the way to identify that thing is living creatures or non-living creatures.
Only have Shivita Rupa and Shivita Cetasika attached.
Yes.
Okay.
If they have Shivita Rupa attached to their Avinipokarupa, then they are living creatures. But without Shivita Rupa, they're just substances. Whether they are be able to respond to their environment or not, they can move or not. But as long as they don't have Shivita Rupa attached to their Vinipoka 8 and combined it as Nava Rupa 9, then they are not living creatures at all, because they don't have Chit and Cetasika that will create the next Bhumi for them, and they don't have to yes, they don't have to receive the information like this diagram anymore.
So we can kill virus corona. We don't so sad that virus corona has gone. We can kill it.
As long as they are not living creatures, right? But a bit more complicated. That. Yeah. Okay. So for beginners to understand that to identify living creatures and non-living creatures in science, you cannot you cannot be able you can't identify at elements level. I think at this level we cannot identify anymore if that elements come from living creatures or non-living creatures at this level. Okay. So but for Buddhism, it's more advanced than that. The knowledge is more advanced than that. Even much more smaller than the smallest particle known by science today, we call it quarks. Gautama Buddha said that there are Navarupa 9 for living creatures. That is the very small particle comparing to quarks. And for non-living creature, non-living substances, non-living for other substances like your environment, exists only Avinipokarupa 8. At this level, in Buddhism, we are we still be able to identify which kind of creature or substance that this particle belongs to. We still be able to identify that this come from living creatures like human or animal, and these components come from non-living creatures like tree, like rocks, like planet, like things like that. So
Okay,
so
more clear.
Go into details. As we mentioned, this case is for your start from your body, right? We go into ourselves and go to smallest part that known by science as quark. And as we are living creatures, we are human or manutsa, right? That's why we have Shivita Rupa attached to our Avidipoka Rupa 8, and Shivita Rupa send information from the outside into the work of Sapajita Sattara Cetasika 7, start from Phassa Cetasika. That is just one of the starting point that will send information through the work of Cetasika, and then send to the path that Citta work with Cetasika. Like for example, like go through Panchathawara Vasana Citta, one of Ahetuka Kriya Citta 3, right? And then pass through Tuvipancha Vinyan 10 as we are be able to recite Citta. We know that there are Akusala Vipaka Citta 7 and Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka Citta 8. Altogether, they have two of Citta for Chakku Sota Khana Shuha Kaya. Altogether, 5 times 2, we call it Tuvipancha Vinyan 10, consisting of 10 Citta. 5 from Akusala Vipaka Citta 7 and 5 from Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka Citta 8. And then this information from the outside, from the level 0, sent to Manotawara Vasana Citta is for easy understanding for the beginners. When you Sikkha, as we mentioned before, that the presentation is not that Kampira, but this is roughly for the beginners to be able to picturize or be able to see from the diagram that by asking you to recite Citta and Cetasika and Rupa at the beginnings. When we explain into details about Dhamma, we go through Citta and Cetasika and Rupa. That's why we need you to be able to recite it, because whenever we Sikkha Dhamma, we refer back to each Citta, Cetasika and Rupa. Okay, and at the last point before enter Shavana Citta, we stop at Manotawara Citta. This is the last Citta that before enter Hasitupata Citta. This is the first contact in Shavana Citta. And to send information from Manotawara Citta to Hasitupata Citta, the information is sent by Viriya Cetasika, one of the 10 Cetasika that work, one of the 11 Cetasika that work with Manotawara Vasana Citta. Manotawara Citta has 11 Cetasika that works with it. They are Phassa Cetasika, Vedana Cetasika, Sanya Cetasika, Cetana Cetasika, Ekakata Cetasika, Shivita Cetasika, Manasikara Cetasika, Vitaka Cetasika, Vichara Cetasika, Atimoka Cetasika, and Kriya Cetasika. And these all 11 that work with Manotawara Vasana Citta. And to enter Shavana Citta, the first contact is by Viriya Cetasika, and that works with Hasitupata Citta. Hasitupata Citta stays in Shavana Citta, and at Hasitupata Citta there are 12 Cetasika that works with Hasitupata Citta, consisting of the same with Manotawara Vasana Citta and more additional, the one more that is Piti Cetasika. Okay, and whenever information is sent into Hasitupata Citta, then it's sent to Kama Vachara Mahakriya Citta 8 to identify which one is Kusala or which one is Akusala. Then they send to Kamma Chitta that related to type of information that you received. If the information that you receive from the outside is Akusala one, once it enters Bhavana Chitta, at Kama Vajra Mahakriya Chitta 8, it will be classified as the Akusala one. So that one is sent to Akusala Chitta to create Abhaya Bhumi for you. And for if the information received from the outside is Kusala one, once the information is identified and classified at Kama Vajra Mahakriya Chitta 8, it will send to Kusala one, or for example, like Kama Vajra Mahakusala Chitta 8, and you can become human or go to Manusa Bhumi, Teva Bhumi, Brahma Bhumi, depends on the level of Kusala. And this for easy understanding for beginners. This from the outside, level 0 into level 100. This is how we receive the information. But today we are talking about how we born as a human. So when at this time we reach Chavana Chitta, and Chavana Chitta is right like whenever we are going to create your new bhumi, we start from Chavana Chitta to create your new body, your new mind, your new environment, and your new food that you need to eat in that bhumi. It will be created, it will be designed, redesigned in Chavana Chitta. So at Chavana Chitta, they are consisting of two main groups of Chitta. The first group is Kam Chavana Chitta, 29. And another group is Appana Chavana Chitta, 58. Altogether, 87 Chitta that stays in Chavana Chitta. We know that there are 121 Chitta, but not all 121 that stays in Chavana Chitta. Only 87 stay in Chavana Chitta. And those 87 divided into two main groups. The first one is Kam Chavana Chitta, 29. And another group is Appana Chavana Chitta, 58. And not all of them that create new bhumi for you. Only only Kamma Chitta that create new bhumi. So Kamma Chitta is here. Sorry. Sorry, where is my...
Pikan, what is different between in Chavana Chitta and outside Chavana Chitta?
For the beginners, for easy understanding, inside Chavana Chitta is comparing to construction process. You need to design and write a blueprint before go to construction, right? Before sending to asking someone to build them for you. You need to design it first, and when you design it, you write design the blueprint, you create a blueprint, and then at that level, the level that get requirements from the owner, and then you design, you draw in the blueprint. At that level, they can be compared as the work of Chavana Chitta. Whenever the blueprint complete, and then you send this blueprint to others and ask them to build it for you. So the one who received that blueprint cannot change the blueprint, but only one their duty is only to construct as the blueprint said. So for Chitta in Chavana Chitta, that is the design unit, design of the blueprint. But whenever the blueprint is sent out from Chavana Chitta, those Chitta that stay outside Chavana Chitta that received this information, their only duty is do as blueprint said. It cannot change blueprint, and the information in this blueprint we can group for the beginners. It's like consisting of your body, your mind, your environment, and your food in that Bhumi, or we call it Kamma Shrupa, Chitta Shrupa, Utu Shrupa, and Ahara Shrupa. Altogether, we call this four group as Rupa Samutthana. Okay, so as we mentioned that now this is Chitta in Chavana Chitta, altogether 87, and it divided into two main groups, as we mentioned, and then not all of them create Kamma.
At this point, you mean that for Chitta, we have altogether 121, but only 87 is in Chavana Chitta.
Yes.
Okay. In Chavana Chitta, all 87 can make blueprint, make all concept for outside Chitta.
Not all of them. Not all of 87. Only 29 out of 87 that directly responsible to design
the
Kamma, yes. So yes, we call it Kamma Chitta 29. For in Kam Chavana Chitta 29, there are only Akusala Chitta 12 and Kama Vajra Mahakusala Chitta 8 that are Kama Chitta. So altogether 20. And in Appanashavana Chitta, only 5 from Rupa Vajra Mahakusala Chitta 5 and 4 from Arupa Vajra Mahakusala Chitta 4 that responsible for creating Kama, we call it Kama Chitta. So in Appanashavana Chitta, only 9 Chitta that are Kama Chitta. Altogether in Chavana Chitta, there are only 29 that responsible to create Kamma, or we call it Kamma Chitta 29.
For easier to remember is only Akusala Chitta 12 and Mahakusala Chitta 5.
8.
8, no. And Rupa Mahakusala Chitta 5, Arupa Mahakusala Chitta 4. Okay, only that.
Yes.
Akusala and Kusala only.
Yes.
That create Kamma 29. Okay.
And then when the blueprint is complete, as we mentioned, as we comparing to construction, then the blueprint will send to the one that responsible for building as blueprint said. And each Bhumi has a specific Chitta that responsible to create things that blueprint in Chavana Chitta said. Like there are only 19 Chitta that responsible for receiving information from Chavana Chitta, as we compare it for easy understanding, as received a blueprint and then going to build that for you. So only 19 Chitta that works that way. So the first one is Kusala Vipaka Chitta. One of the 7 is not all 7, only one, which is Upekha Sakatang Santi Rana Chittang Asankharikang Kama Vajra Akusala Vipaka Chittang. And one of Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka Chitta 8, which is Upekha Sakatang Santi Rana Chittang Asankharikang Kama Vajra Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka Chittang. And Kama Vajra Mahavipaka Chitta 8, Rupa Vajra Mahavipaka Chitta 5, and Arupa Vajra Mahavipaka Chitta 4. And where do they build your body in which Bhumi? This one.
Pikan, I want to ask that Patisanthi Chitta 19, Juti Chitta 19, Pavanka Chitta 19. Is it in Chavana or outside Chavana?
Outside Chavana Chitta.
Oh, okay. It's outside Chavana Chitta. Too easy to remember is Vipaka Chitta.
Stays outside Chavana Chitta.
Okay.
And for one of Akusala Vipaka Chitta, or Ubekha Sakatang Santi Rana Chittang Sankarikan Kama Vajra Akusala Vipaka Chittang. This one, only one Chitta, but send you to Abaya Bhumi 4. For Ubekha Sakatang Santi Rana Chittang Asankarikan Kama Vajra Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka Chittang. That sent you to Manusa Bhumi 1 and Teva Bhumi 1. Only Jatu Maharishika Bhumi, or the first level of Teva Bhumi. And Kama Vajra Mahavipaka Chitta 8 sent you to Teva Bhumi 5, except Jatu Maharishika Bhumi. I speak in general. And for Rupa Vajra Mahavipaka Chitta 5 sent you to Brahma Bhumi 16, and Arupa Vajra Mahavipaka Chitta 4 sent you to Arupa Brahma Bhumi 4. So this is why how we sent to how we are sent to Bhumi.
But Patisanthi Chitta, what is mean outside Chavana Chitta? It means the Chitta that bring us to 31 Bhumi.
Yes, that leads to.
That is output.
Yes, but not.
Okay.
Yes, depends on that Chitta, which Bhumi depends on Chitta. Okay.
Okay.
And then when we are human, when we are created as human, there are 4 types of Manusa. Manusa Niri or Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano. This one, even though you are born as a human, but you are based under influence of Akusala Chitta 12. And then it's based on Akusala Kamapata 10. And then whenever you are Manusa, these 3 types of Manusa, you go to Abaya Bhumi 4. And then only way to become Manusa Tevo, and you need Sikkha or Dhamma Sanya. This Manut Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manut Tirachano, there are 3 Sanya, Kama Sanya, Kujara Sanya, Mara Sanya, and those 3 Sanya are based on Akusala Kamapata 10 that leads to Abaya Bhumi 4, as we mentioned. Okay.
How to Sikkha? What is Sikkha mean?
To Sikkha Dhamma can be done by Bunya Kriya to 10. This for easy understanding, which consisting of Than, Seen, Pavana, Apajayana, Vayavaja, Patitan, Patanumotana, Dhamma, Savana, Dhamma, Tesana, Tituchukam. So go back to the path to Sikkha Dhamma, as we mentioned, that starts from ourselves and to very small particles and small level until reach Chitta. And then that's why you need to perform Bunyakriya to 10. That will, when you perform correctly Bunyakriya to 10, when the information go to Maha Kriya Chitta 8 that stays in Chavana Chitta, the correct one or Kusala one will be sent to Kusala Maha Kusala Chitta. That's when you are created as a human. So they have a blueprint as a human for you. Okay, so your body, your mind, your environment, your food, or your Kamma Sharupa, Chitta Shrupa, Utu Shrupa, Ahara Shrupa are designed in Shavana Chitta as a human when you perform the correct Kusala outside, and then when it go to inside, it classified as Kusala, the correct one, the Kusala, then they create a human body for you and sent to Manusa Bhumi. And to go to Manusa Bhumi, in general, you need Patisanthi Chitta as Somana Sasa Katang Santi Rana Chittang Asankarikang Kama Vajra Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka Chitta. So this Chitta will send you to born as a human. Okay. This one show that Bunyakriya to 10, what they help control, transform Kusala Kamapata 10 into Kusala Kamapata 10. Kusala Kamapata 10 consisting of Mana, Adina Kame, or 3 Kaya Kamma, and 4 of Vaji Kamma, Musa, Pisuna Vata, Parusa Vata, and Sampapalapa, and 3 for Mano Kamma, which are Picha Payapata and Micha Titti. You can see that only one of Bunyakriya to 10, which is Sila, control Kaya Kamma 3 and Vaji Kamma 4, which is not very difficult from Bunyakriya to 10. Only one of 10 can control 7 out of 10 of Akusala Kamapata 10. However, the rest 3 of Akusala Kamapata 10, which are Manokama part, this one is quite hard. So when you're able to 10 need 9 out of 10 components to control them and transform into Kusala Kamapata 10. Those 9 components consisting of Than, Pavana, Apachayana, Vaya, Vacha, Patitan, Patanumotana, Dhamma Samana, Dhamma Tesana, and Titushukam. So by transforming Kusala Kamapata 10 into Kusala Kamapata 10, then their Chitta in Chavana Chitta are going to create at least Manutsa Bhumi for you. So now you have a blueprint as a human. Now, and in that blueprint, consisting of your body, your mind, your environment, your food, in that blueprint. So your body or Kama Shrupa, 18. Your mind or Chitta Shrupa, 15. Your environment or Uttu Shrupa, 13. And your food or Ahara Shrupa, 12. In that blueprint as a human. Now, you have these 4 groups of Rupa to create your body, your mind, your environment, and your food. Altogether, this 4 groups, Kama Shrupa, Chitta Shrupa, Uttu Shrupa, and Ahara Shrupa, altogether we call it as Rupa Samutthana. So now, imagine that you have a blueprint as a human, you have your body, your mind, your environment, your food. Now, time to build as blueprint set. Okay. Oh, before we go there, I explained to you a bit more detail in each components of the blueprint, as we mentioned that your body or Kama Shrupa 18, your mind or Chitta Shrupa 15, your environment or Uttu Shrupa 13, or your food or Ahara Rupa 12. It seemed quite difficult to recite. However, it's not that difficult. The first 8, they are identical. The first 8, as we mentioned at the beginning of the class, that everything is, we need a basic building blocks, and Aviddhipokarupa 8 is basic building blocks of everything. So Kama Shrupa, Chitta Shrupa, Uttu Shrupa, and Ahara Shrupa starts from our basic building blocks, which are Aviddhipokarupa 8, consisting of Pathavi Mahabhutarupa, Apo Mahabhutarupa, Tesho Mahabhutarupa, Vayo Mahabhutarupa, Rupa Visaya-rupa, Kantha Visaya-rupa, Rasa Visaya-rupa, and Ahara Rupa. Okay. Not only that, they also have one component that is common one, which is Paricetta Rupa 1. Or we can imagine this one as a space, a gap, a space. So now, be able to, now we have they have 9 components in common. It's quite easy now. For Kama Shrupa 18, apart from that 9 components, they have 9 more, but these 9 exist only in Kama Shrupa 18. They are Passaddha Rupa 5, Bhava Rupa 2, Hataya Rupa 1, and Shivita Rupa 1. Okay, so these 9 that exist in Kama Shrupa only, but not exist in other groups, the rest of groups. So we call it genuine Kama Shrupa 9. So, and for Chitta Shrupa 15, apart from first 9, only 6 left. Only 6. The next 6 is Vinyati Rupa 2, Sattva Rupa 1, and Vikara Rupa 3. And for Uttu Shrupa, the first 9 in common, and then Sattva Rupa 1 and Vikara Rupa 3, and Ahara Shrupa 12, the first common 9, and then Vikara Rupa 3, altogether 12. This is the component of Kama Shrupa, Chitta Shrupa, Uttu Shrupa, Ahara Shrupa, your body, your mind, your environment, and your food when you're going to born in as a human. Okay, we need this blueprint, and in each blueprint consisting of these things. As we mentioned, that is the component of your body, your mind, your environment, your food, or Kama Shrupa, Chitta Shrupa, Uttu Shrupa, Ahara Shrupa. This is the blueprint that you are about to born as a human. So the first 8 that I mentioned, it's a basic building blocks of everything. It's sent into two paths. The first one sent to, and then from very small, it's accumulated larger until it reach quark level, and then into neutron nucleus, to become atom, and that atom becomes, depends on what elements that is going to be, and then from that elements into chemical compounds, and then from chemical compounds it form universe, and form our system, solar system, and it also form planets from Earth, and the components of the Earth is also start from Avinipokarupa 8, as we mentioned. And then on the Earth, you have city, you have food, right? So the universe is not created by one day. So before we born as a human, this part must be prepared before we born as a human. So this part, they prepare long time ago before we born as a human. Now, another part that that we have just mentioned, that Avinipokarupa 8 sent out, built into two parts. The first one is the non-living creatures, like this is substance, your environment, your food, before you born as a human. Another part of Avinipokarupa 8, they start to build, they need to attach to Shivitarupa 1. This one is going to be ourself now, our body now. As we mentioned that Avinipokarupa 8, whenever it becomes us, we are living creatures, there is very important components that need to be attached with Avinipokarupa 8, which is Shivitarupa 1. Altogether, we call Navarupa 9. And as long as Shivitarupa 1 attached Avinipokarupa 8, then we are alive. Whenever Shivitarupa 1 left Avinipokarupa 8, then you are dead. Okay, so from this small part, and then the same, it's two quarks into proton, neutron, nucleus, become form as an atom, and that atom become elements. And these elements, even science don't know that these elements come from, is going to be for living creatures or non-living creatures. But as we mentioned, that in Buddhism, it has already been identifying that these elements belongs to living creatures or non-living creatures at Navarupa level. At Navarupa level, so these elements known that they need to perform chemical compounds and turned into a DNA, and from DNA they turns into chromosome nucleus and cell, and then they turns into human body systems, and they become us. That's how we become human. But now, one important thing is not only they know that these elements belongs to living creatures, but they can identify that these elements not belongs to other living creatures that is not manutsa or human. It has already been predefined at the level of Navarupa 9. So elements in this level, they know that whenever they form as chemical compounds and they form as a DNA and then become cell, become body systems, it not turns into the animal one. It controls from this level, that Avinipokarupa 8 attached to Shivitarupa 1. And before that, as we mentioned, that you need a blueprint, right? And then you build outside in your environment, your body, your mind, your food. So the type of your body has already predefined in Kamashrupa 18. That's why you're not turned out to be by accidentally become an animal. become a dog, become a pig. But it has already been identified that you must be human because Kamashrupa 18 said that you'll be born as a human. Okay, Chitta Shrupa, you have a mind as a human, and you have environment as a human, and you have food as a human, or Utu Shrupa and Ahara Shrupa. This is how we become human, right? And not only that, Kama Shrupa 18. Whenever Rupa altogether, we have Rupa 28. When we call it Kama Shrupa 18, the rest 28 minus 18, there are 10 left. So there are non-Kama Shrupa 10. We call it Kama Shrupa 10. Before we grow up in the age Bhumi, to build to expand ourselves from very small particles into larger one, you need to activate something, like you unpack it. When you send to that Bhumi, it's like a package. To unwrap it, to enlarge it from the package, you need to swap one thing. You need to swap Paricetta Rupa 1 with Sattva Rupa 1 and turns Kama Rupa 18 and Agama Rupa 10 into Nibbana Rupa 18 and Anibbana Rupa 10. And that time when you unwrap it and you swap these two components, it expand themselves from the smallest one in the package into the larger one. So you can now you can turn from your blueprint into your body and your environment like this. But before extract yourself up like that, you need to swap one thing and turns Kamashrupa 18 and Akamashrupa 10 into Nibbana 18 and Nibbana 10. Okay. And that time then turn Patwi Mahaputra 1 into, like we know today, Kesa Lomana Gadanta Tacho, Patwi Mahaputra 20, right? Something like that. That is how we extract from expand from one competence into the bigger one and become ourselves. For example, like Kesa Lomana Gadanta Tacho, consisting of Rupa 44, they are not only Mahaputra Rupa 1 anymore. They are consisting of Rupa 44. They accumulate other Rupa into themselves to create Kesalo Mana Khadanta Tacho, for example. And those 44 Rupa consisting of Kayatasaka Kalapa 10, Pavatasaka Kalapa 10, Chitta Suttataka Kalapa 8, Uttu Suttataka Kalapa 8, and Ahara Suttataka Kalapa 8. So this how you're born as a human, how you extract from the blueprint into your body like this, from the very, very small part that cannot be seen by naked eyes until you reach your the level 0 that we assume that we mentioned at the beginning of the class. So in summary, in this class, we mentioned that Patu Sikkha the first at the beginning, from ourselves into, we go deep into ourselves, into very small particles and way smaller than that, until we reach place that Citta works. And then we mentioned about Citta in Chavana Citta, we have 87, right? 29 for Kamchavana Citta and 58 for Apanachavana Citta. And also we mentioned about Kama Citta, 29 in Chavana Citta that creates Kamma. And then we mentioned about Patisanti Pavanka and Chutti Citta, 19 that receives information from Chavana Citta and then leads you to each Bhumi in this 19 cover 31 Bhumi. And we also mentioned about Bunya Kriyavatu 10 that is transformed from Akusala Kamapata 10 into Kusala Kamapata 10. Only one of the 10, which is Sila, that can control Kaya Kamma 3 and Vachi Kamma 4. But the rest, for Mano Kamma 3 of Kusala Kamapata 10, they need Bunya Kriyavatu 9 out of 10 to control them, to transform them from Akusala 1 into Kusala Kamapata. And then we also mentioned about rupa samutthana, or consisting of kamma shrupa, chitta shrupa, utu shrupa, ahara shrupa, or your body, your mind, your environment, and your food. And and we also mentioned about kamma shrupa 18 and kamma shrupa 10. For easy understanding, is like a pack in the package. And when you unwrap the package and it expanded itself, it turns Kamashrupa 18 and Akamashrupa 10 into Nibbanarupa 18 and Nibbanarupa 10. And that time, and when it turns from Kamashrupa 18 into Nibbanarupa 18, and that time it's unwrap itself from the package and expand from very small particles that cannot be seen by naked eyes until you reach your existing at that level 0 that you can see with your eyes. You can your environment, your body, your mind, your food, things like that. This is how we explain how we born as a human, or in Manutsa Bhumi.
Maybe this class will make everyone feel like very difficult. So everyone should have to recite Chitta, Cetasika, and Rupa first, and then slowly we will lead you to more deeper, and then you will feel that it is not difficult than what you think.
Yes, we try to comparing to things that you can see. So for the beginners, you can easily picturize them, and for us, once you can picturize them, we will add more details in the picture for you. But as we mentioned, that this presentation and this class, the information is still very it's not computer or profound, but we introduced you the components and a family of vocabulary that you might need to know before going to further details in each part, in each action. But we comparing it for you like an easy one, like
Really easy, Pikan.
pack it, you design it, you pack it, you send it, you extract it, something like that. So design in your Shavana Chitta, and then you have blueprint of this package, and send it out. And the one and Chitta Patisanti Chitta, Pavankha Chitta, Chuti Chitta 19, they're responsible to deliver this package into 31 Bhumi. And once they deliver in 31 Bhumi, in wherever they are designated to, then they extract it. Whenever they extract it, first they need to unwrap itself by switching from Kamashrupa 18 and Akamashrupa 10 into Nibbanarupa 18 and Anibbanarupa 10. By switching
Sattha.
Sattha Visaya Rupa with Parisheta Rupa, then it will turn from Kamashrupa 18 into Nibbanarupa 18. And then at that when it switching like this, when Kamashrupa turned into Nibbanarupa, and then it's the time for them to extract themselves out in that Bhumi. So from the smallest one, very small one that you cannot be seen by your naked eyes, it will expand into your body, your environment, the planet, everything that is very big. But it comes from things that are very small that you cannot see, much more smaller than the smallest particle the science knows today, which is quarks. That would be all of this class, I think.
Pikan, this is a core enlightenment. So enlightenment is not normal. It's hard. It have to recite first, and then you have to Sikkha slowly, and then you will get more in detail. But if you think that only close your eye and meditation, it cannot reach to what Paramatutta enlightenment point.
Yes. Yes, it takes time, but it's very very fun and happy along the way. You feel happy and feel I myself, I feel happy whenever I found that, oh, Gautama Buddha said this. Buddhism explain everything. You can look in in every detail. There will be an explanation that of Dhamma. Explain in every detail. You cannot think. You don't have to think it yourself. Whenever you have questions, Dhamma have explanation for you. But only one thing is depends on your foundation. If your foundation is not ready for that Dhamma, it can be it can be only something explained very simple components. But once you understand more of Dhamma, then we can go further into details about that components. A bit by bit, gradually.
Yeah.
Takes time. Yeah, happy along the way.
Yeah. Any question?
So we see them next week also, right? We have scheduled to meet them again next week, right?
Next week.
So we
see Dhammacharya Napong again.
Yes, we see you again next week.
Yeah.
Okay, ครับ สาธุครับ
สาธุค่ะนมัสการไอเย
น
ค่ะ
มัสการไอเยครับ
นมัสการไอเย นมัสการไอเย สาธุสาธุสาธุนาวุติอุปาณิธิพันธะอนุโมทามิ